Hey everybody, welcome back to California, West Africa. So, how's everyone doing today? Bonjour from Cote d'Ivoire. So, man, like I said in my previous videos, I'm never going to be a YouTuber, okay? I don't, I've now resigned myself to, I just don't care. I'm going to make videos. I'm going to use YouTube as my free cloud, upload my family videos, and leave a record of who I am and what I'm doing. And I'm still very connected to the red pill community and the red pill. So I am very aware of all the marriage laws and how guys are deciding to check out of society and dating and all these things in Western countries, because it's a shit show. It is a bad deal for men. Marriage is a bad deal for men. Trying to have a family in the family court system in America is a bad deal for men. The risks certainly outweigh the reward in that type of environment. And I can't, like this man who Pearl went and reacted to his video.
Want them. What up, guys? Welcome to my reaction series. Today we are reacting to a young Chad over here talking about why he's giving up and getting married and starting a family. So this is a guy I think that in history would have reproduced. He looks muscular, I would say conventionally attractive. And even the Chads, so if you're not a Chad, even the Chads are walking away. They're like, these bitches are too much. Let's see what he has to say.
Always assumed I'd get married, have kids, start a family. That's actually one of the reasons why I built this house as big as it is. It's over 3,000 square foot because I figured that if I'm going to have a family, I need someplace to put them. But over the years, my mindset on that has completely changed. I'm 40 years old now, and I've basically given up on the idea of starting a family. And there's a few reasons for that. And I'm sure there's probably a lot of guys out there that can relate to this. And that's why I'm making this video, because it has become increasingly difficult for a guy to confidently go into a relationship and be okay with getting married, having kids, and starting a family. One of the primary reasons for me, aside from the fact that I'm 40 years old now and I'm kind of stuck in my ways, but I decided several years ago that the idea of having a family is pretty much not going to happen. Because number one, there's a lot of crazy indoctrination that's going on with kids and stuff these days in schools. The stuff they're teaching kids is just freaking abhorrent, and I do not agree with any of it. They're pushing all these sexual agendas and all these crazy ideologies in schools now. And when you're a parent and you're sending your kid off to school, that's all this time that you don't have with the kid, because it's up to you as a parent to shape your kid into the person you want them to become and to teach them right from wrong and essentially protect them from all the things that you don't want them to see. But when they're in school, you can't do that. And the only alternative to that is private schooling or homeschooling. But then, with homeschooling, you're taking your kid away from the social interaction and all the things they'd be learning when they're in school, as far as how to socialize with people, how to make friends, how to see them get, which would be like critical thinking, life skills, finance, money, skill trade, all these very important things in life that they really don't teach in school. So I went through a bunch of crazy stuff with my health. I know all about suffering and what it's like to feel completely lost, hopeless, have no sense of direction, meaning in life. And, I've suffered from anxiety and depression and all these horrible things. And that was hard for me. So the idea that I would have a kid and bring them up in this crazy world and possibly have them suffer through a lot of the same crazy things that I suffered through is just something that I decided I'm not willing to live with.
So you notice he says, I know what suffering is because I went through some depression and no direction in life. We all go through that. Everybody does. He just said the generic thing that is part of the human condition. And then claims he knows what suffering is. He has no idea what suffering is. I know that my take is going to be not the norm. Most people say, oh yeah, he suffered. Fuck out of here, man. This guy's okay, maybe he's not a. He has valid reasoning. This is what I'm saying. At my core, I can't make a logical argument against what he's saying, but only because I've been through actual suffering. Imagine I've sat in a prison cell, fearing for my life, false allegations, and isolation, being removed from society, having my kid taken away from me, suffering PTSD to the point where contemplated suicide, lack of direction in my life, grew up without a father, all these things. And this guy got depressed for a little while and didn't have any lack of direction. Therefore, that's life. And I hate when these people, especially men, that get on here and say things like, I didn't choose to be in this world, and it's suffering. At the pinnacle of human society, where we have all these things and life conveniences and medical care and lifespan, none of it was like when we lived in the caveman days. People would die from toothaches. But this guy knows what suffering is. Get the maybe I've been through so much, but it's like comparing. I stubbed my toe, and you're complaining to a person that just lost their limb in a car accident. That's how I look at it. It's so ridiculous. I know that other people are going to have this perspective, but I just look at like, and I don't want to be one of those guys that says, man up, be tough, but sort of, yeah. It's infuriating.
And another big reason is because as a guy, going into a relationship, getting married and stuff, it comes with a lot of risk. And it's no fault of our own. It's no fault of the male or the female sex. It's the way the court system's set up. It's the way our society is geared.
There's more. This is not an ugly guy. He looks social, muscular, like conventionally attractive. And he's saying, nah, no, thank you.
In general, it's geared in favor of the woman. If a family gets divorced, most of the time, the woman's going to come out on top. And as somebody who has established a very good life for myself, I'm financially secure, I'm debt-free, I own my own home, I've accomplished a lot of fantastic things in my life. So going into a relationship and getting married comes with a significant amount of risk. That's true for me and pretty much every other guy out there. And again, it's no fault of our own. It's just the way society is geared. They've made it a point to destroy the nuclear family, to tear the family unit apart. And I think it's all by design. I don't think they want us to have a strong family unit. And it seems like everything in our is set up that way. When you get a divorce, pretty much all your stuff goes to the woman, or at the very least gets split 50-50. And if you've worked your entire life, especially as a guy being the provider, to provide all this stuff for your family, and if you come into that relationship having a lot of things and having established a very good life for yourself, you could have all that stripped away. And in a lot of cases, it could be borderline impossible to ever get that back. Because again, the guy is usually stuck paying child support or alimony or both. So his wages now become significantly less, and his ability to regain all the things that he's lost, especially if he's at the midpoint in his life or later in life.
And I'm sitting here and I'm going, there is nothing that man said that I can disagree with. And I don't have a logical argument other than, I don't know, man. It's like Pearl is saying this guy's a Chad and that he's right. And, women are so terrible these days, and it's all true. Like, in the risk of losing your stuff. But for some reason, because of my unique perspective, and make no mistake, I have a perspective that 99% of men don't have. I've been to the lowest pits of despair. I've had my life destroyed. There's nobody I know that has had a worse story than me. And it's not a contest. It's not like, oh, look at this thing that I went through. No, it was fucking horrible. But let me tell you something. If you gave me a time machine and said, would you like to go back and reverse anything? But I had to give up everything I have now? Fuck no. I in that regard, I wouldn't change nothing. And I just looking at this guy, that of course the red pill guys and all these manosphere guys and all this stuff, they're going to say, yep, that guy's 100% right. And you can just read the comments. Everyone just totally agree. Yep, that's why I'm not doing none of that stuff. Okay. What is, see, I lost material things. I lost cars, houses, money, jobs, my reputation, lost all of it. I'm not dead. I'm still here. If you can't find a way in that system to have a family, because listen, man, I never thought I'd be sitting here going, men should have kids. Look, we have a replacement rate that is below the birth rate is so low. Like I said in other videos, what are you going to do about it? Okay, so I picked up the pieces of me that were shattered, and this guy has a 3,000 square foot house. He's healthy, good looking, and can figure out a way to just keep his American dollar and move someplace outside that system. That's what I did. What I did is not fucking hard. That's the whole thing. What I didn't. It's not some kind of complicated formula, because I've never been a success with anything. I'm not college educated. I make 5 figures. I'm not making 6 figures. I make like $65,000 a year if you want to count for taxes and everything else. Of course, I have the military taking care of me, yes, but I earned those benefits through the military. And what happened to me? I'm a disabled veteran. So yes, I have that leg up. But I'm never going to be rich. I'm never going to. I don't even own a car. I don't even own. I honestly, I have 2 suitcases worth of belongings. I'm a minimalist, really, for all intents and purposes, for myself. I have a PlayStation and some clothes on my back. I don't spend a lot of money on clothes. The majority of my wardrobe is hats. Got to protect myself from the sun out here, man. I got a good head. I'm not trying to hide anything. Yeah, I got kind of a weak chin, so I grow a beard. You know what I mean? Like, there's things you can do to mitigate your looks, your physical fitness, all that stuff. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. But everything I went through, all the pain of being dragged through family court, being dragged through the system with false allegations, losing everything. They just taught me, and listen, I'm not here to say, I'm some kind of strong man, but I think I am. Maybe I must be. People have killed themselves for less. And the other day I was telling you, like, having Bella, so I can raise Bella. And I know other expats that do it too, that aren't rich, that come down here. They made their money in Switzerland, or their money, like this guy, he could certainly buy another house and then have some passive income that comes in, and then just go move to another place where you've got control of your family. There's no family court here in Cote d'Ivoire. I think they do have something, but I'm not part of that system. This is not a place where anyone can just call the cops and you show up and take your kids. They don't have that kind of system here. Thank God. And they don't give women just this carte blanche power over men. There's not that woman empowerment over here. And then, of course, the other thing is, a lot of people say, oh, well, don't date outside your race. I have kids with, my first son is with a black woman who is half Korean, half black. My son looks just like me. Figure that one out. I don't know what Bella's going to look like. She's half black, half African. But she's a girl, so I don't want her to look like me. But I see other people that have kids with white women, or they keep it within their race, and their kids look nothing like them. Hopefully it's theirs, but look like the mom. There's no genetic, and then people say, and this is no disrespect to any of my friends, because some of my friends have decided not to have children. Oh, well, I don't want to pass on my bad genetics because I suffer from depression and family members or whatever. Hey, my uncle, who had 2 sons. One became a CEO of his own robotics company, super successful, rich, good, smart guy. They educated and raised their sons well. And for some reason, his younger son, my cousin, died at age 35 of pancreatic cancer. My grandfather died of brain cancer at age 58. But then I've got a grandma that lived till she's 96. So I got a mother who smoked since she was 13, and she's now healthy as a horse, 82 years old. I mean, there's just, to me, for lack of a better term, it's like a cop-out. And it's always the people that I see that would make the best fathers or strongest men. But for some reason, our society has culled these men into these weak. It's like they see the obstacle, right? And they're not doing what men do. Problem solve this fucking shit. Problem solve it. It's not that hard. That's like if you just walk up to a wall and you say, well, here's an obstacle. I'm just going to sit down because, I don't want to, if I jump up on that wall, I could fall. I could get hurt. I don't know. It's not worth the risk to get to the other side. You don't know what's on the other side of that wall, right? You don't know. Like, people don't know the joys that I have with Bella, the absolute connection I have with my child. There is no, I've been motorcycle riding. I've flown in helicopters. I've done thrill-seeking things. You know, like, I've had sex with beautiful women. I've had lots of ups and downs, right? Nothing. And, you know, I can say this because I've had no kids and I've had kids. And I can tell you life is better with children. Life is so much better with children. Especially at my age now. For me, I just look at, now I don't have an argument to counteract everything he said, because everything he says is fundamentally true. But something in my my core, excuse me, rails against it. Not because I want men to go back to the plantation or be slaves for women or just live to take care of others. There's something to be said about that. Now listen, I have freedom, and you know, my relationship actually has been freedom. I picked a woman that doesn't care if I play video games. Of course I can't play video games all day long because I have responsibilities. That the joy of caring for Bella, teaching Bella, walking her through life, raising her. Like the other day, a couple months ago, you know, I can't mitigate all the risks, right? Bella's running in the house. She falls, hits her chin on the high chair, bites her tongue about a quarter of the way through. I've said in other videos that she bit it halfway through. It was about a quarter. She has a small tongue and her teeth are sharp back there. I picked her up, blood gushing out of her mouth like she was hemorrhaging blood. And I ran a quarter mile to go get a taxi because the ambulance is here. So it'd take too long. And I knew it wasn't life-threatening, obviously. But I ran with her and got her to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, nothing they can do for her. Bleeding stopped. Mouth cuts healed quickly. Within a couple of days, she was herself again. But what am I going to do? Bubble wrap all the furniture? I know we have a slick floor, and I know I took a pointed table. The table had a corner on it. I took that out of the living room. But she still bumps her head. She falls down. She hits her face. How do I mitigate all that? I have to give her some type of freedom, you know? And I just can't imagine. Something, you know, not having children and not figuring out a way to have a family. You say the system is planned and the system is against you. Yeah, maybe it is. Okay, so figure that shit out, man. It's almost frustrating to see this man with all this stuff going for him. And he says, oh, fuck it, man, it's too scary. Yeah, okay, don't get married. I totally agree. And marriage is fucking stupid in America. It's fucking stupid. It is a risk that is not, you don't want to lose access to your kid. I lived that. Okay, so I went and had more. I got millions of sperm. I can have more kids. You lose your kids? Have more. What is the empty life? I want to enjoy my peace and sit in a rocking chair and sit down in my 3,000 square foot house. And I'm just going to, what is there to fucking life? You're going to go and drink, you're going to drink. Yeah, I get it. Wake up, look at the birds in the sky, you know, enjoy your, we got the family here. Michelle's getting ready to go to France for 2 weeks for a job. Where are you going?
I will give water. He wants water.
Oh, okay.
She know her shoes.
Okay. Bella, come this way.
Opposite
Come this way.
shoes.
Okay, well, okay, we gotta get your shoes on, okay?
Chaussures. Baba, donne right. See?
You were gonna cry because you thought Mama was leaving, huh? Bella.
Deu?
Oh, you're okay now, huh?
Deu? Water. Deu?
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I support men, and I believe the system is rigged, and it's a hard decision. But I just listen. Once you've already faced the monster and survived, like listen, I'm a man whose life was destroyed. There's coming back from that, of course, and maybe some men can't come back from it. I get it, but and maybe it's my military experience. You know, I went to war, sitting in a tank in Iraq,
in 1991, and we breached into Iraq, and I was the lead tank. I'm not saying this, and I have another video I'm working on that I'm going to think about maybe documenting what happened in Iraq. I have a diary and some other information and stuff where I did what I did over there. And I remember being scared, and then went through it and made it through the other side. And of course, you know, I survived, fortunately. So I don't know, man. Maybe I'm the odd man out. Maybe it's not normal what I'm doing. I know it's not normal what I'm doing. Going, who the fuck goes to Africa, makes a family over here, and lives as an expat? I'm going on my 4th year. Now I don't even say, like, we went out last night for Michelle's birthday. As you can see, we went to a nice modern place. Cost me almost $100, like $80. That, you know, we're on a tight budget. I just got her cake and a couple of appetizers, and I bought her a bag for a trip and some shoes, and you know, gave her the experience of the happy birthday. And you know, and it was joyful. Like, it was so nice. And if you look at the video, look at Bella. She's enjoying it. She's probably not gonna remember it. I think she probably thought it was her birthday. I don't know. But yeah, man, I can't agree with this guy. I can't. Everyone's, and you know, here's the thing. I'm very self-aware. I know that people go on YouTube, and I'm very happy, and I do come on YouTube. I am seeking attention and validation for some of my life choices. I'm very aware of that. I know that, you know, I also do it for other reasons. So in other words, when I'm telling my story on YouTube, it's not, some of it may be validation and attention. You know, I do get a little sad when my video only gets 12 views. But then I have a lot of shorts and stuff like that. I get, like, I just recently had a short that got like almost 10,000 views. People's attention, but then my long form videos, 50 views. Nobody wants to see me, and I don't care about that. But I do enjoy the feedback from a few men that I get on the channel that, you know, tell me I'm doing it right, and that's sort of the validation. And I just, small bits of validation here and there. I don't think it's a bad thing. I do enjoy. I had a Paul from Asking Older Men. You know, I sent him the video, and he said, "You're doing the right thing, brother." Okay, maybe he didn't. Maybe he doesn't mean that. Maybe he does mean it. But by and large, he didn't tell me, "Oh, you're doing something stupid." I think he would tell me if I was doing something stupid. Putting my story on YouTube. I don't worry about public exposure. I don't worry about getting doxxed. I've already been doxxed. Like, that is, like, people always have this fear. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a healthy fear of our information being out online and people getting our personal information, of course. But no one's ever hijacked my bank account. No one's ever done some kind of fraud against me and I lost money somehow. You know what I get? I get a bunch of calls that everybody gets, trying to loan me money because my credit's good. But as far as everything else, that's the worst thing that's happened with these people selling my information. And then the ads that I get are tailored towards me. Oh, big deal. I'm not saying that there isn't a problem. There's no privacy anymore. But that's just the way the world is now. So figure it out. Figure out how to keep your privacy, whatever. I'm not worried about my privacy. I don't give a fuck about all that. Here's my face. I'm not doing AI videos. I'm not doing none of that. I've tried, you know. But I'm not going to go out and get a nice mic. You can hear me just fine. I know that people want polished YouTube videos that give them a value for their money. I'm just here to tell my story. And if a few men, like, I know it sounds cliche, if just one person learns from me, then I'll feel satisfaction. But it's sort of true. Like, I feel satisfied even with the amount of subs and validation I get from YouTube. It's very nice. And I don't make any money from it, but I don't have to. I don't make a living off of fucking YouTube. Fuck YouTube. I don't care about their money or AdSense and all this other shit. You know that here in Africa, when I watch the YouTube videos, no ads. As long as I'm on my home Wi-Fi, they ain't trying to sell me shit. Why is that? Because I live in Africa. What are they going to sell me? A car? They can't sell me nothing here. So all my videos on YouTube are all 100% ad-free, unless I use my American mobile data. Sometimes when the power goes out, then I get ads. Then they eat up my fucking roaming, assholes. Because my American phone acts like a VPN. It shows me as being in LA or something like that. Yet still I can't watch Disney or Prime Video. Figure that one out. Anyway, that's the video. I don't know what I said. See you on the next one.